Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is 4:30 a.m. on Monday the 28th of July, and I'm just getting myself ready to start my first exercise at the gym again. I'm the first one in the gym. These early morning sessions are doing it, I feel knackered when I wake up, but they're great when I get started because I am on shift again at 6 a.m. But this week I'm bringing you along for a very popular video, one that always seems to go off on YouTube. It's a week of workouts in my life as a girlie who's mainly weight training at the moment, but she's doing a bit of hybrid training. New week, so I'm bringing you along for all my workouts. Today is pull, so we're going to get going as we've only got about an hour and a half. I'm going to have to do my cardio separately later after shift, but that's all good. We're going to get this done. The hoodie and joggers is from My Protein. It's the oversized essentials range. Code really my money off. Then the fit is Honor Active, which you'll see in a second. But yeah, cool today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It helps me out more than you know. And comment down below what your favorite workout session is. And yeah, let's get into this workout. So we're starting with our first workout of the week, which is pull. So if you don't know, pull is a workout which is going to target our pulling upper body muscles. So this is going to be our back and our bicep muscles. As you can see here, I'm just doing a bit of a dynamic warm-up. So constantly moving around, I use a band, hold the edges to cut out the slack, and I'm going to make some circles, moving around to open up the upper body in both directions. I'm going to bring the band in front and behind me, opening up those shoulders and working on my mobility. Then I also do some pull aparts. These don't have to come all the way, but you're just gonna pull your arms as far apart as you can, squeezing that band to your chest, and then relax the muscles again. I normally do at least 10 reps of each exercise in each direction before moving on to my actual exercises in the workout. The first exercise was unassisted chin-ups. If you're not quite there with your chin-ups, I recommend keeping these in, but instead doing some assisted ones, either banded or with the assisted machine, and maybe some scapular pulls as well to really help get that first part of the exercise down. We're then going on to cable lat pullovers. When doing this one, I like to use a straight bar attachment, and I like to think of this as a swooping arc. You're scooping the ice cream and then pulling it up to around your belly button, keeping those elbows in nice and tight, then slowly reversing it back up, blocking those arms by the ears, stopping there, taking a deep breath to reset and going again, making sure we're not using any momentum between reps. The next exercise was a unilateral exercise. So a unilateral exercise is an exercise you do one side at a time, and you always start with your weakest side, or what side you believe is your weakest, and however many reps you do on that side, you're then going to match on your stronger side, just to prevent having any further imbalances between sides. So this exercise is a dumbbell single arm row, so you're going to hold the weight in one hand and bring that leg out to the side. The opposite hand and knee is going to go into our tabletop position essentially, and you're going to make sure your shoulders lean forwards and we're over the front of our body. We're not leaning back too much. We're then going to row the arm with the dumbbell up, bringing that dumbbell in nice and tight to the chest and keeping that elbow in nice and tight to the body. Think you're elbowing yourself in the sides when you do this one. Next up, wide grip lat pull down. Obviously, you can change the attachment on the carabiner for the lat pull down cable machine. I am doing wide grip here. This is going to further target the wings and the outer back, but you can do narrow grip, parallel grip, all of those options. With this one, taking a slight lean back, shoulders down and back. I don't want to see any shoulders by your ears, guys. We're going to take a deep breath in and we're going to pull it down towards our chest nice and quickly, and slowly bring it up, preventing those shoulders from coming up. Next is a bodyweight exercise. This is the bodyweight inverted row. For this one, I am doing as many reps as possible instead of the normal 10 to 12 reps for every other exercise. And I'm just pulling my chest up in line with the bar and slowly lowering to straight arms, keeping my body off the floor all times. We are then doing the fixed pin machine row. So I'm using the bottom handles here. As you can see, there are two options, but I'm using my parallel, or what I call my clients my C-shaped grip, and keeping my chest into the pad, my shoulders back, rowing, pulling those elbows in nice and tight to my sides, and then slowly returning, keeping tension in the muscles between reps and stopping between reps to prevent myself using momentum. Finally, we have our bicep superset. I paired this as a superset this week because I was running out of time, but normally I do them individually. So here I'm doing seated alternating bicep curls. With those bicep curls, because these ones are alternating, we're doing them one arm at a time. Again, I'm starting with my weaker side, but switching as I go. Everything from my elbow upwards stays nice and tucked in. Everything below my elbow can move like so. And then I'm getting up afterwards and I am doing some dumbbell hammer curls. These ones I've programmed standing up this time. With our hammer curls, we are doing very much similar to our bicep curls. However, we are turning those dumbbells. So the dumbbells, the weight or the number of the dumbbell is going to be facing the mirror. Like so, again, trying to keep as much of that top part of the arm, elbow upwards, tucked in nice and tight. You're going to turn those dumbbells as you bring them up so the number on the dumbbell head hits basically where your bra strap is, and then slowly lowering it like so. Then from here, we are going on to day 2 of workouts, guys, which was quads and calves. So for my quads and calves workout, I do a dynamic warm-up which consists of exercise like frontal and lateral leg swings. We're going to do circles, we're going to do hip flexor stretches, glute bridges, squat rocks, all that stuff, shooting the chickens. So a big dynamic warm-up for this. I then always start with a barbell back squat, which for some reason I didn't seem to film, but again 10 to 12 reps for 3 sets. Bigger break here because it's a compound lift between sets. And then my next exercise was a heel elevated goblet squat. I am holding a dumbbell in front of me here, keeping it nice and tight, pressing my belly button backwards and keeping my back flat and keeping those elbows in tight, making sure I'm not putting that weight really on my body and making myself lean back. Then into a unilateral exercise here. I'm using the 45-degree leg press to do a single leg press here. Really trying to go down as far as I can. I do find my range of motion isn't great on my leg press. My hips are a bit dodgy from all my years doing dancing and cheerleading. So I try and take it nice and slow and control, going down as far as I can. And then exhaling and pushing up nice and sharply. Taking a second to take a deep breath and reset before going again. And then obviously it's a quads and calves workout. I do include a calf exercise. So I'm going into a Smith machine calf raise, as this also takes out the need for balance. I always just also feel like I can load more and just feel it a lot more when doing it on the Smith machine. So I'm going to put a big plate on the bottom, toes on the plate, heels off the plate. Going to unrack the bar like so, standing tall, going up onto those tiptoes, and as I breathe out, slowly lowering those heels to the floor nice and gently. Coming to a complete stop before going again and going up onto my tiptoes. Again, in the same rep range. And then I have another little superset here, which is on the leg extension. So the first exercise is just a normal double-legged leg extension. Trying to keep it as heavy as I can. Again, going for the 10 to 12 reps. And once I have done the reps, on my final rep of the set, I am going to hold it in my top position for 10 seconds. I always say to clients here, remember to breathe throughout, because some people think of a hold and they forget to breathe. My finisher for this workout is bodyweight walking lunges with my back knees to the floor. However, I did forget to film these, but these were 10 reps per side at bodyweight. Next workout was posterior chain. So the posterior chain is the whole back of the body. So we're looking at our back, our glutes and our hamstrings. I start here with unassisted pull-ups instead of chin-ups, which are in my pull workout, and go for as many reps as possible. Again, if you can't do pull-ups, that's more than okay. Switch it to banded or assisted pull-ups. Then we're using the Smith machine. We've got 2 exercises on the Smith machine here. Smith machine bent over rows, making sure you put the little safeties right to the bottom so you can get the full range of motion. You're going to unlock, hinge your hips back, and from here, chin tucked, rowing it up. The bar's going to touch our belly button. We're going to slowly lower the arms down to straight arms without letting those shoulders fall forwards. Then onto more of a hamstrings focused Smith machine exercise. We are going into Smith machine good mornings. Again, this is a very similar motion to an RDL. Chin tucked, we're going to think about pushing those hips and bum to the back of the room. Imagine, like I say with RDLs, we've got a door behind us and we need to shut, and we can only shut it with our bottom. So we're doing that like an RDL. However, the difference here with a good morning is that the bar is on our back instead of us holding it like an RDL. When we get as far as we can and we feel like we're starting to feel a big stretch in the back of the legs, we're going to exhale and snap back up nice and sharp, standing up. Keeping that chin tucked the whole time, nice and slow and controlled on the way down. Nice and quick and explosive on the way up. Next exercise was the glutenator machine, which is a plate-loaded machine in my gym, and it is a great one. It kind of mimics an abduction, but it does really get the glutes a little bit more here. So starting with the legs on the inside of the pads, we are going to make those wide as possible, nice and quickly, and slowly bring them back together, keeping a little bit of tension in the muscles as we do so, and making sure we focus on our breath work. I then took to a cable machine and added on the rope attachment, holding towards the end of the rope with a C-shaped grip, and I did my face pulls. So with my face pulls, I am trying to bring the middle of the rope up towards the bridge of my nose, keeping those elbows up and out and pulling my back in towards each other like so. Again, 10 to 12 reps here when I control it back nice and slow as I breathe out, preventing the shoulders from coming forwards, stopping completely, taking a deep breath in and going again. Okay guys, I don't know if you can hear me because of music, but I just want to say that this is actually the end of today's workout. I would normally do more on posterior. I would do glute focused Bulgarian split squats and a D handle cable seated row. However, I'm literally so close to my period and today's session's not it. I didn't feel like going this morning, but I thought I'd get myself up and go. Just see, it's going to make me feel better in some way. However, I'm just really not feeling it. I feel like an emotional wreck. I managed about 2/3 of this session, and this is just a reminder that some sessions are going to look like this. As a woman, we have a 28-day cycle, and this is completely normal. We go again tomorrow, but I'm still happy that I got something done. I'll come back in later for cardio and abs, and hopefully I'll be in a different mood. So really, I only missed 2 exercises, but still, you win some, you lose some, and that is perfectly okay. Okay, gals, on to the next workout, which was glutes and hamstrings. One I've often been neglecting at the moment, but actually, when I lift nice and heavy, one of my favourites. So I would normally start with a superset of the glute drive machine into a hold for 10 seconds on that last rep, like I do with the leg extensions. However, the machine was out of order, and this gym isn't great for actually using a barbell for a hip thrust setup, so I went back to glutenator because I know this one kills off my glutes. However, I would normally do that superset. Then it was straight into barbell RDLs. I do normally do them with dumbbells. However, this training block, I have thought about going back to barbell just for a little bit of variation. I was getting a little bit bored, switches things up slightly. So like I was saying with the Smith machine, good mornings, I always use straps for this one to help with my grip, but a soft bend in the knees, chin tucked in, shutting that door behind me with my hips and my bum. And when I feel a stretch in the back of my legs, that's my cue to breathe out sharply and snap back up to the top, keeping that chin tucked in at all times. Again, 3 sets of 10 to 12, and then I was re-racking that one. Next, I went on to hyperextensions, which I normally do body weight. However, this week I was feeling brave and I added a small weight, which I held nice and tight to me. Crossed arms, I would say to my clients, like a mummy in a tomb with this one. When you adjust the pad for the hyperextensions, you want it just below your hips so you can get the full range of movement without feeling like you're going to fall somewhere and popping your legs towards the back of the machine. You're going to slowly flop down, no control, and then on the way back up as we exhale, nice fine control here. There's such a contrast between the eccentric and the concentric, but on the way up, squeezing just the glutes together. Try not to think about moving because a lot of people tend to swing their torso and then we're really not feeling it in the glutes and the hammies. But imagine you've got a £50 note between your bum cheeks and you need to squeeze your cheeks together as much as you physically can to keep it there. And we keep on doing this until we can't come up any further, and then we go again, breathing in and lowering ourselves. Then on to another unilateral exercise, which is the kickback machine. I never used to be a fan of cable kickbacks, however, I really do feel this machine. So you just adjust the pad for your chest, hands or forearms on the pad in front of you, holding onto the handles, and then one leg at a time. Again, I'm starting with my left as that is my weaker leg. I'm going to kick my leg back to straight legs, keeping a soft knee, and then slowly returning it as I breathe out, keeping tension in my glutes at all points and never fully relaxing them before repeating it on my stronger side, which for me is my right side. Again, 10 to 12 reps per leg. I then went on to abductions because I normally do these anyway. I am aware these are very similar to the glutenator machine I used at the start.
However, the glutenator is not normally in this workout, so I thought I'd just do both. Can't help to get a little bit of extra volume. So with this, I'm bringing in the legs as close together as possible, pads on the inside. I like to sit up with this one, but not overly exaggerate it like you see some people on TikTok, etc. do, and pushing my legs out as wide as possible. And as I breathe out, slowly returning them to my starting position again, keeping a little bit of tension in the muscles. Finally, I have a superset for the hamstrings. This is a single leg seated leg curl, which, as you can see, is quite an awkward one to set up. My legs were everywhere, guys, and it takes a while to adjust, but I really wanted to do this. I normally do it if I am at the gym. I work out with the lying leg curls. We don't have a seated one, but I always find I prefer the seated one, especially being someone who's shorter. The lying one at my gym just does not favour shorter people. So I was doing 10 to 12 reps on my weaker leg, so my left, and then I was just adjusting and doing the same on my right, as you can see. Bit of an awkward setup going on here, but we soon worked our way around this. I'm only 2 or 3 weeks into this program, so still kind of learning as I go. Doing the same amount of reps here on my stronger leg, and then I was adjusting again. And the second part of the superset was a double leg seated leg curl. Again, 10 to 12 reps here. Obviously, upping the weight for the double leg curl in comparison to the unilateral exercise of the single leg. As you can see me doing it here. Again, warm up for glutes and hamstrings. It's very similar to quads and calves. I kind of do a generic, dynamic lower body warm up. And after all of these workouts, I just want to say I do a little bit of ab work. For me, I tend to do, there's an ab crunch machine, a weighted one in the gym, which I do, again, 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. I do some hanging ab crunches, normally sets of 6 to 8 body weight. And then I will do a little body weight superset of either 10 crunches into 10 leg raises or 10 crunches into 10 heel taps per side, 3 sets. And then I will also do the Stairmaster. That's normally half an hour at the moment on the stairs. However, when I was in the peak of my car, I was doing about 50 minutes. However, you can definitely get away with 20 to 30 minutes a couple times a week. Then for my push workout, my final workout of the week, my final weightlifting session of the week, I'm starting with a Smith machine incline bench. So you want to have that bench on about a 45-degree angle, and we take a deep breath in. We're going to slowly lower it towards our chest, tapping it, then exhaling, pushing it up sharply, keeping those shoulders down and back as we do it. And as I'm not doing very well there, just using my leg drive to help me. But then going into a barbell upright row, which is a bit of a compound. It works the shoulders and the back as well. But really think about bringing those elbows up and out. Imagine, I like to say to my class members, you're pulling up a pair of suspenders with this one and then slowly returning it down to straight arms like so. Then into flat dumbbell bench press, which is one I am actually improving on. I actually managed to get the 16s for 10 or 8 reps this time, which has been a while since I've done that myself without a spot, so I was happy with that. Always putting the weights on the end of your knees first to help kick them up to save energy, then having them at a slight angle. We're going to keep those shoulders firmly planted on the bench. As long as our shoulders and our bum stay planted, our back can slightly arch to help with the drive on the way up as we struggle. We're going to bring them down nice and slowly to our muscle position, down and out. As we exhale, pushing them up and in, keeping them in line with our chest at all times. And then going into dumbbell shoulder press. Again, using our knees to help kick those weights up as they get heavier. And again, using that leg drive, keeping ourselves nice and flat against the bench and slightly angling the weights like so, as you can see with my elbows. Bring them up and in, squeezing those arms to the ears. I don't want to see a gap between our ears and our arms. And then slowly lowering back down to that muscle position before stopping, bracing and going again. I'm then going into a cable chest fly, so making sure each cable attachment, I'm using a D handle here, it's probably the best, is at the same height. And we're going to put one leg in front of each other in a slight lunge, slightly hinge forwards. And we're going to start in a T position with a slight bend in the elbows and pull both handles together, touching the handles or the hands. And at this point, you're going to squeeze that chest together as much as possible on the way back, slowly exhaling, returning them at the same rate to the T position before bracing and going again. Next up is assisted tricep dips. I can do these ones unassisted, and I have been doing them unassisted for ages. However, I feel like my reps aren't really getting up there at the moment. We're stuck on 6 or 7 for a while now, so I wanted to add a tiny bit of weight. I think I did 9 kg help and try and build up the reps weighted to help me build up those unassisted reps in the future. I'm finally finishing off here with a superset of dumbbell lateral raises into dumbbell frontal raises. Again, 10 to 12 reps of each. I like to tell my clients with this one, you're pouring jugs of your favourite drink, so slightly tilting the wrist as you do so. And once I've done these, again, I did my abs and my stairs, and that was my full week of workouts. I hope this gave you some inspo. If you want some more inspo, follow me on Instagram, Lily Maya Fitness, or send me a message and let me see if I can help you with PT. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. See you soon.